Hello students, today we are going to see the topic difference between simple interest and compound interest. See, there are two types of interest, that is, one is simple interest and the second one is compound interest. In this, simple interest means the principal will always remains as same. In this simple interest, the principal will always remains as same for how long it will take. But in compound interest, the principal will change as year by year. It will increase the principal. Let us see by a simple example. I am explaining these two things. For example, first consider the simple interest. First take the simple interest. In this, if I am taking an example for this as principal as 10,000, simply I am taking the example as 10,000 and the rate of interest as 10%. To make the example as easy, I am taking the simple values. So now look at here. Principal, that is in simple interest, you know the formula for simple interest as PNR by 100. If the principal is 10,000 means for the first year, this one is number of years and the final one is rate of interest. This principal and this is number of years and this is rate of interest. For the principal 10,000 for the first year, 10% of 10,000 is 1,000 rupees. 10% of 10,000 is 1,000 rupees. So for 10,000 rupees for the first year, we want to pay the interest as 1,000 rupees. And you know the formula already for amount also. Amount is equal to P plus I. That is principal plus interest. So that in the first year end, we receive the amount or we pay the amount, whatever it is. If you are depositing the amount means you can get the amount for yourself, to you. But if you are a borrower means you want to pay the 1,000 rupees as interest, so totally you can pay 10,000 plus 1,000 as 11,000 rupees you want to pay for the first year. The next year also the principal remains the same. If you are not paying the amount on the first year means the next year also the interest will also remains the same. That is, the rate of interest will also remains the same. You want to pay for the next year as 1,000 plus 1,000, 10,000 plus 10,000, you want to pay as 12,000. If suppose on third year you are going to pay, the principal will remain the same, that is 10,000 rupees, and the third year the interest will also remain the same. So finally you can pay 13,000 rupees. So in this simple interest, the principal is always remains same and also the rate of interest, and that is the interest amount, will also remains as same. There is no change in the principal and rate of interest in the simple interest. This is called as simple interest. Now let us see the same example for compound interest. Now we can see the same example. That is, I am taking the same principal as 10,000 and the rate of interest as 10%. Now let us see what is happening here. Here the same formula for amount, that is principal plus interest. So now I am taking the P as 10,000 and this is number of years for the first year. Rate of interest 10% means in 10,000, 10% value is 1,000 rupees. See, the amount for the first year is 11,000 rupees. And one thing you want to understand from this, however it is for both the simple interest and compound interest, for the first year only the amount will always remains the same. That is, look at here for 10,000 our interest is 1,000 rupees, we need to pay as 11,000. Similarly, for the compound interest, for the 10,000 rupees, for the first year interest you want to pay as, with the interest you want to pay the amount as 11,000 rupees. But what will happen here in compound interest means, the first year's amount, the first year's amount, that is principal plus interest, this one become as the principal for the second year. This amount of the first year will become as principal for the second year. So what will happen? The principal changes means the rate of interest will also change. That is, the rate of interest will remain the same, but the interest value, the amount of the interest will change. That is, here for 10,000 rupees rate of interest 10% means it is 1,000 rupees. But here in 11,000 rupees, you are going to pay for the next year interest means for the same 10% it will be as 1,100 rupees for the second year. So finally this amount will also increase. That is, 11,000 plus 1,000 rupees is equal to, plus 1,100 rupees is equal to 12,100 rupees. 12,100 rupees. And the next year, that is on third year, the principal again will change. That is, the second year amount will leads to the principal of the third year. Principal of the third year. Then again what will happen? Here the interest will change. Not for 1,100 you want to pay. You want to pay the 10% from here means, from this 12,100 means you want to pay 1,210 rupees you want to pay in this third year. So finally what will happen for this amount? That is 12,100 rupees plus 1,210 rupees. So finally you want to pay for third year as 13,310 rupees. So from this you want to understand one thing. Yearly the amount will change for the same principal what we got in simple interest. In simple interest, for this 10,000 rupees, always the interest will remain as same, and the amount will also increase as gradually. But in compound interest, the principal is yearly changes, so that the increase will also increase, so that the interest will also increase, so that the amount will always increase while comparing with the simple interest. So for a lender, when comparing the simple interest, compound interest, in compound interest only they are getting as more benefit. So that most of the institutions, financial institutions, as following this compound interest only in most of the places, because in that only they can gain as more. Because compare this, in simple interest for the third year, for the same 10,000 rupees you are going to pay 13,000 only, but for the same 10,000 rupees in compound interest you want to pay as 13,310 rupees. When comparing with this simple interest, this one only more than this one. And then for the first year only, in both simple interest as well as compound interest, for both the things the amount will remain as same. Because in simple interest, principal, this is an important thing, principal will always remains as same, but in compound interest, principal will always change for each and every year. So that's the thing you want to understand very clearly about the simple interest and compound interest. This is the difference between simple interest and compound interest. In my next video, I will explain you about the formula derivation for this compound interest, because this one is already, you know, that is for simple interest. The formula for the simple interest is I is equal to PNR by 100. But for the compound interest, it will change, because every year the amount is going to be as principal for the succeeding years, you know. So that the formula will change for this compound interest. I will upload that content in my next video. Thank you, students.